Okay. I think it's about time I get on this again, because it's been a while. 2 weeks since I'm recording this. For how long I've been having this dream. In this dream, I'm not whole. I've been torn apart by something I can't quite comprehend. Split apart, not organically, with brute force. I, as I exist, am doomed to the fate of being an observer, unable to interact with what I'm watching. A girl in a lighthouse overlooking a clay doll representation of humanity. All those I observe can move between spaces. I am signed to this space. All of this is to say, if I am between the binary and ternary, and she is on the binary, what does that make you? Ooh. So true, Allison. So true. I honestly, probably the most relatable thing you said in this entire game. I looked up from my phone as Allison walked into the room, slumped over. She walked over and face planted onto the bed I was sitting on. I looked at her inquisitively. It's got you all tuckered out. Hmm, true. I leaned over and poked her hair. Sit up, Allie. I can't make out a word you were saying. Allison sat up. Packing. Same thing we've been doing all day. Okay. I have, after that insane ending, I'm, I just want to know. I want the answers and I want them now. Maybe I won't have a 2 week delay with between this one and the second one. Well, speak for yourself. I finished up pretty early, actually. Yeah, because you don't have anything to pack. All your stuff is still back at home on the island. They don't fault me for being lightweight to travel. I don't need much to get by. They're the one that had like everything shipped from Tanegashima. Allison glared at me with an unserious, tired expression. Yeah, and I realize now how bad of an idea that was, because now I have to get it all shipped back. Such is the struggle with a temporary home. Sure is. How about you? You packed everything up? Yeah, I did it this afternoon. Didn't really take too long, like I said. Maybe I should loosen up a little. I'm admittedly a little envious of your single carry-on suitcase. Ha! Well, it certainly makes traveling easier. But I'd be lying if I said I didn't miss my home back on Tanegashima. So take that as you will. Fair enough. Just then a rather tall silhouette appeared in the doorway. Oh, Konomi's back! Yay! When we walked into the room. Nothing much. Just making sure you're both ready to be up early tomorrow for the taxi to the airport. Everything all ready? Yep. I know you're ready, Seth. I was mainly talking to... Bruh. Yeah, I just finished up. All the stuff that's getting shipped back is in the boxes by the front door, and my suitcases are in my room. Cool, cool. Ari and I also just finished packing. Don't stay up too late. We gotta be up at 8 a.m. sharp tomorrow. You got it. Konami left the room and closed the door behind her, leaving Allison and I in the light of the dim desktop lamp on the dresser. Allison looked over at my phone in my hand. What were you doing? I turned on the phone to reveal the game I'd been playing. Putting in some of the grind on. It's. I'm not even gonna try. Tried to clear that chapter 5 update that just came out. Allison gives a light-hearted chuckle. I should have known. I felt a light impact against my side and looked over to see Allison resting her head on my shoulder. I gave her a teasing smile. You want to rest your head on? Come on, bro. It's been one chapter since that happened. It's been one chapter, gang. It's been one chapter. How long has it been? 6 months, I think. I just, man. I also moved away from being flustered. What? I mean, I wasn't. I was just like, want to rest your head on my lap. I also buried her face in. Oh, well, at least you're straightforward about it. I put my legs down off the bed and let Allison lay down on my lap. I looked down at her, still flushed with her eyes closed. Hey, you can't fall asleep there, you know. You can't stop me. I can revoke your lap privileges, but you won't. I laughed softly. Yeah, you're right. I guess you're the sleeping beauty then, huh? Allison opened her eyes. Thanks you, my prince, I'd say I got pretty lucky. It's been... Like, if I was playing this back to back, this would have been extreme whiplash for me, because they were, like, so confused with each other, and now they're so straightforward with it. They're they're just flirting so casually at this point. Hey, I never said I was complaining. I why is this called? I saw this image. I saw this image. I knew it was coming. I agree with Saturday here, actually. Oh, was that too far? Sorry. No, it's okay. I was just not ready for that. An awkwardly long silence passes. Hey, I wanted to ask, are you okay? You seemed kind of out of it all day. I guess do know me too well for that to go unnoticed, huh? This is not so much that I'm out of it, nor so that it feels like this time, short as it was, is coming to an end. It's been 3 months since the stuff that. Oh, it's been 3 months, okay. Since the stuff that happened at the shrine, I guess I just got too used to things actually haven't calmed down. Because once you step foot in Tokyo, we're back in the case and anything could happen. I'm scared. But more selfishly, I'm going to miss this few months. Even if they weren't easy, really felt like this was a major change in my life for the better, you know. Sorry. I shouldn't dump all of this on you. Aw, Allie, it's okay. I understand completely. To be honest, I'm kinda in the same boat. My life already took such a monumental turn earlier in the year, and it really feels like we're about to take another one, doesn't it? But I think you and I both know this is something that we gotta do. It's not like either of us to go through all of that and just walk away. Yeah, I agree with you. Still scary, you know. Yeah, of course. We're not facing this one anymore. Neither facing this alone anymore. Neither of us are. You're right as always. So it's gonna be scary, but press on anyway, right? Always. That's just how we roll. Yeah. It went silent for a while before I inevitably had to get Allison off of my lap so I can move into bed. Yeah, I'm not doing this because I want to be a hero. Looking back, I feel so foolish that I was worried about that. It's been so long since all this began, it doesn't even feel like this is connected to Suki anymore. I still need to see this through anyway. If there's something awful waiting for me at the end of this, I'll face it head first, together with those I love. There's a 2 hour drive from that to the Kagoshima airport. Luckily, the weather wasn't particularly bad, so most of the drive was scenic. Ari and Kotsumi had taken a different cab, which left just Allison and the one I was in. About halfway through the drive, I got a text from Ari. So I got everyone their own burner phone for a while we're in Tokyo. For a while. Why? We're diving headfirst back into the station that injured Saturday. We know now there's at the very least some kind of organization with actual power involved all this. I want at the very least for us to have some kind of protective measure here. I agree with Ari. Whatever. Group is involved in all of this, without a doubt, knows we've been poking around. The more we can do to keep ourselves untraceable, the better. Wait, but wouldn't they be able to track this conversation if that's the case? Why are we talking about this in a group chat, though? But yeah, Saturday has a point. They could technically track this conversation, yes, but they wouldn't actually be able to get the numbers of the phones from this alone. Ah. Okay, I get you. I'll give it told me hers and give you two yours once we arrive at the airport, just letting you know in advance to save explaining in a crowded space. Makes sense. Thanks, Ari. Yeah, it's no problem. I put away my phone and looked out the window. We were passing through. Nope, I'm not. Nope. The ride was relatively quiet after that, with the occasional light talk between Allison and I. Eventually, the two taxi cabs meet at the Koshima airport. Airport, sweet airport. Here we are. No, I'm not letting you do that again. What? Yeah, I forgot. It's been... Dude, has it really been that long? Party pooper. Konami laughed. I'm still not used to you two actually getting along, you know, Eri. You hated Saturday's Guts just a few months ago. Hey, I never hated her. I just had a strong idea of what she was like in my mind. You know, they say not to judge a book by its cover, right? Being fair, the only part of the book I had was the cover. When the cover involves that much fantasy, you two assume with the book. There's... I'm not following along with this metaphor, sorry. Yo, you gotta be kidding me. No, no shot. Of course you aren't. Allison and Kodami chuckled and we moved off of the taxi drop-off area into the actual airport building. By the time we got through security, it was afternoon. What gate are we again? Allison reached into her pocket to check her boarding pass. Gate 37 looks like, so that's down that way. Oh wait, hold on. I want to read the Movator. The what? That, the Movator, right there. I pointed at the treadmill-like thing on the ground. The moving walkway. Yeah, the Movator. Nobody calls it a Movator? Wait, you guys have never heard it called a Movator? I have never heard it called a Movator. It's a Movator, like an escalator, but it moves you. A Movator. An escalator also moves you? When I lived in Canada, people called it a Movator. Well, this isn't Canada, is it? Doesn't make it any less of a Movator. I need to... You know what? No, we're Googling this. Holy shit, it's called a Movator! It's actually a Movator. Oh my god. I hope you realize that the time you've been arguing, you would have reached the end of the Movator. I'm going on the movator. Then go! Nobody's stopping you. Okay. I walked over on the movator and stood across it. Aaron called me and Allison stood still the entire time and stared at me. It was a miserable experience. The PNG slide. This game. This game. This game. After we reached the gate, Ari handed us each our burner phones. They were really old, the kind of phone that had an actual numpad on it. When are these from? What happened to my voice? What happened? I'm old as fuck! Well, you know what they say, the best way to go and see was to go retro. Nobody said that. I see why her and Saturday are friends. Hey, it's my God, yes, that's what. Anyway, each one has the numbers of the other three in the contacts already. I've used our initials as well, just for an extra measure. Isn't this going a bit overboard? Like, yeah, it's good to be cautious. It feels like boarding on paranoia. I mean to be blunt, Saturday, but do you want to injure your other leg? You know by now the danger of what we're dealing with. Yeah, but nah, yeah, you're right. Sorry. I seemed a little taken aback, so she wasn't expecting me to actually change my position. Yeah. Saturday was like, damn, you right. I didn't account for this. Cool. Anyway, I'm going to go grab some snacks for the flight. Konami, come with me. What do I have to? Yes, Allison, Saturday. Do you two want anything? Any bag of chips should be fine. What about you, Sad? If you could find one, a flaming hot Mountain View. Kind of become hooked on those. Shit's bad for you. What is it in this account? I can't exactly disagree. I'll look anyway. We'll be back shortly. Ari walked off with Konami slouching behind, clearly unamused. I guess we should take a seat. The thing about this dialogue is that it looks like something I'd write. I have a certain way of writing dialogue, and this feels like I wrote it. Like, I don't know how else to explain it. This is just me. I don't. I know I explained this in the last video or some other video, but I said it. This relates to me. I write like this. This is how. This is my humor. Off topic, but I heard the chapter alpha update came out, so I guess I'll play that at some point. But I'll see what it takes to unlock it, because I actually do want to play more of this game. Maybe try getting 100%. Who knows? It didn't look like it was going to be a very packed flight, so there were plenty of open seats for us to sit while we waited to board. We took a seat and waited for Ari to come to me to come back. I got so distracted by what was happening inside the mountains that I dropped my... Oh, hi, Dawn. Oh, man, not even an S+. But my rating down quite a bit. God damn it. Couldn't really complain, though. I put away my tablet and read the feed that was displayed on my monitor. Burner phones, huh? Probably make that work. I spun my chair a bit to the left to focus on one of the other monitors. As much as I hated to admit it, I was actually starting to get used to this little space I set up. So this is Dawn. They look like Kotomi. No. Ah, the little hearts on their hair. I like that. On their shirt, too. It's a little ironic when you think about it. I'm the one pushing Saturday towards the truth, but I found peace in this little hideout that exists outside of the narrative. Aha, I got the number of Saturday's phone. Now that I had this, I had to figure out a way to actually put it to use without triggering error detection. And ideally without the World Keeper catching on. I didn't know where she was or what she was doing at the moment, but as long as she wasn't here, it should be good. Wait. This is gonna sound crazy. Is Suki the World Keeper? It'll be fine. We're on equal playing ground. She can't spy on me, and I can't spy on her. I pulled my whiteboard around towards my desk and got to work. For a while now, I've been stuck in this dream. Watching, waiting. Eventually, I got sick of it. That's when I became aware of your existence. At first, I thought you were an anomaly. A being that had somehow entered this world from above. But after a while, I realized I was incorrect. You are not an anomaly, or even a being. You are a world. You are the catalyst for my determination. And finally, we are ever so closer to the breaking point, because of you. Before we continue, I wish to thank you for that, and to apologize. Everything I've engineered was for this moment, and that required keeping you in the dark. As you approach the end of this accumulation of cycles, I would like to finally show you everything that's led to this point. The extent of our struggle. A truth about The vivid stasis. Holy title drop! Let's go! Cinema. Sorry, when did I get 407? Yeah, I forgot I've been playing like a lot of songs. What's this? Let's see what that is. I'm probably gonna go out of my way to like play the game and like try to buy all these songs. By the time our plane landed, it was well into the evening, and being winter, that means it was dark when we stepped off the plane. Ah, Jesus. Cold. You literally just sat in the heated tube for a few hours. I'm not surprised you're cold. Do you need a jacket? Do you need my jacket? I mean, if you're offering, then yeah, figured. Here. Allison walked over to me and handed me her jacket. I wrapped it around myself. I would never find myself admitting it to her, but it wasn't really that cold. I just like wearing Allison's coat. I started to walk forward towards the exit to the luggage claim, but Allison stopped me. Forgetting about the other half of our group? Come on, let's wait for them. Oh shit, you're so right. It totally slipped my mind. How the hell that slipped your... I think the last few months of doing absolutely nothing have made you even denser, actually. I laughed and we leaned against the glass wall with our carry-on bags. Indeed, it had been months. Many months of resting. Not so much while waiting for my leg to heal up, as the wound had mostly sealed up about as well as it was going to within the first month. Instead, we had to spend most of the time working just to get the funds to make the very trip we had just begun. We'd spent day after day, week after week, and month after month saving up just enough to allow us a month in Tokyo. All of us figured that would be enough time to accomplish whatever it was we were going to accomplish here. I found myself wondering what the next month would have in store for us. After the commotion that was the first days of Minami Yosumi, the topic of what happened was tread around very carefully. Nobody knew what to say for a while. Eventually, though, we all agreed that spending some time in Tokyo would be beneficial to all of us, both for the reason of giving us something to take our minds off of everything that had happened, and also to do some further investigation to that very same everything. The Sunrise Foundation was a name that came up a lot back on those awful days in August. And the fact that nobody could remember or explain what it was, but knew that it was related to whatever was going on, was enough to warrant our curiosity to get the better of us. And since their website said they seemed to be based in Tokyo, it really made sense for us to spend some time out east. After a while, the shock of missing Suki vanished, in a way that didn't entirely feel right. Almost like I was more used to not having her around than I was used to her being a part of my life. That in itself became a source of anxiety for a while. Luckily, Allison helped me through many panic attacks and calmed down within time. Allison, I generally don't think I could ask for a better person in my life. Even when I'm thinking this to myself, it sounds cheesy as hell, but it's how I truly feel. Even though we said we wouldn't date until after everything had calmed down, my overwhelming feelings of love for her never got any weaker. That's not to say that Allison and I didn't have any romantic moments at all these past few months. It's more like we're waiting to make it official. Of course, everyone else already realized long before we told them. Ari even said she didn't know we weren't a couple until after the Geology Museum incident way back in July. But when I'm with her, I generally feel like I could overcome anything that's thrown at me. It's even more than that. I just know I can. In a way, it feels like it's already happened, time and time again, and yet... Wakey wakey eggs and bakey said. Yeah! Uh-huh. Jet lag getting to you, bestie. Wasn't even that long of a flight. I looked up to see the ever-opposite sisters. I guess they had caught up to us while I was deep in thought. Hey, shut up. I did you drink at the start of the flight? Aren't those supposed to keep you awake? Well, yeah, but I have a weird brain. Caffeine is just a knockout drug for me. It's true. I can back this up. Oh god, she can back this up. Allison looked over at me. So, have you heard from Chio about her current whereabouts yet? She's supposed to be picking us up. Oh. Yeah, she said she'll be right outside the baggage claim. At like 8:30. We best get going then. Come on. Konami sprinted down the long passageway leading to the baggage claim. The remaining three of us looked at her defeatedly. It's still 8:20. Regardless, we ran after her. Better to be early than late, probably. It turns out Konami might have been right to run, as all of us severely underestimated the size of the airport. In the end, however, we managed to make it on time. The baggage claim was just over the exit, so after we got our bags checked, we stood outside and waited for a few minutes. Eventually, a taxi put up with a familiar-looking girl just inside. Hey, there she is! Chill! Saturday, Allison, Ari, and your... Konami Nichi Botsu, Ari's sister. Oh, you're Konami. Nice to finally meet you. I'm Chiyo Sakamura. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Anyway, Chiyo, what's with the taxi? Didn't you feel like driving out here? Sorry, I don't have a driver's license or a car. I'm a very strong public transport advocate. I thought I told you this. What? No, you totally didn't. She totally did. She did. It's literally so recent that you can see it in your messages without scrolling. You guys are no fun. Gio laughed. Anyway, my place is pretty close to here, but the bus doesn't run at a reasonable enough rate for me to be here at this time, so I took a taxi. Thinking of which, we should probably not keep them waiting. Good point. Give me your suitcase, and I'll put it in the back with mine. I nodded and rolled my suitcase over to the back of the taxi. Alison opened up the trunk and slid our bags in together. Despite her relatively short appearance, she was much stronger than I was. It wasn't exactly a hard bar to pass. I sat down in the back seat, and the other three slid in beside me. It was the tightest fit I've ever been in my entire life. Being squished in next to the person I was madly in love with made the ride a whole lot more awkward than it probably should have been. Luckily, it was only about a 35-minute drive from Tokyo International Airport to Chio's apartment in Ikebukuro, which, to be honest, is 35 minutes longer than I would have liked it to be, but it could have been a whole lot worse. Chio's apartment was part of a small 3-story condo. Luckily, there were a few extra rooms that Chio usually used as office space that she'd prepare mattresses in. Eri and Kodami got one room, and Allison and I got the other, which was fine by both of us. Oh, did you finish setting all your stuff up? Yeah. Not like there was much to set up. All we had was the stuff in our carry-on bags. That's fair. Where are Allison and Eri? I think both of them are in their rooms. We had to get up early to pack for our flight, so it makes sense that at least some of us would be exhausted. You guys aren't, though? I'm nocturnal. There are times where this is about the time of day I wake up. Oh, I see. That doesn't sound healthy, but I'm not your character, so I won't pry. Appreciate it. My sleep schedule is already enough of a hassle. Saturday is so relatable. That's the end of my sentence. You guys want to sit down in the living room and chat for a bit? I haven't had the chance to beat you yet, Kodami. Sure. I'm assuming you'll still be up for a bit too, right, Saturday? Yeah, of course. I'll join you guys in a minute. Let me just go check on Allison first. Sure thing. Chio Kodami walked down the short hallway to the living room, and I started walking up the stairs to the bedrooms that Chio was letting us stay in. I slowly opened the door to the room Allison and I were staying in. Sure enough, Allison lay inside, passed out cold. I backed out of the room slowly, but then I heard a soft voice from behind me. Saturday. I looked back and Allison had one of her eyes open. Looking, what's up, Allie? Can you do me a solid and fill up that glass with water? I don't have the energy to get up and do it myself right now. She pointed at an empty glass on the nightstand beside our bed. I laughed. Of course I can. Hold it tight. I grabbed the glass and walked over to the adjacent bathroom and filled it up with water. Then I brought it up to the bedside and leaned down to place it on the nightstand. Thanks, Saturn. I love you. But I was so caught off guard by Allie's sleep talking, I don't even think she realized what she was saying and would probably forget by the morning. I gained my composure and smiled and then hesitated for a second before I left the room. Love you too, Allie. Get some rest, okay? Mm-hmm. Closing the door, I stood in the hallway for a solid few minutes to wait for myself to stop blushing before I went back downstairs. Chio, Konami, and I sat in the living room for the next half hour talking about how life had been the past few months. I felt the sense of almost familiarity. Growing up, I had always been a loner aside from a few friends I had, and even then aside from Allison, none of my friends felt super close to me in a sense. Now, I felt like I had really found the people I loved, and that I would do anything to protect. Soon enough, Konami went to bed and Chio followed. I sat in the living room alone for a few minutes before retiring for the night myself. I agreed to spend a few days out enjoying the city before doing any kind of thinking about the Sunrise Foundation, and I didn't want to be even remotely tired for that. I wanted to go to Tokyo for a long time, and I wasn't about to pass up the chance I'd been given. Huh, wait, what? Didn't I live in Tokyo at one point? Did she? Well, I'll never know. I'm glad I just, grinded off screen so I don't have to, just stop the recording sometimes to get... Are they playing that audio? Are they playing the Shrine Report audio in the background? Jeez, okay. Okay. That was already our second day in Tokyo. It was our first chance to actually go out and explore a bit. We spent the entirety of the 17th recovering from jet lag and general exhaustion from packaging everything up and moving it out of our temporary home in Kagoshima. So most until today, we actually had the chance to get out of Ikebukuro. Ikebukuro Station! Ah, so this is what a subway station in the big city looks like. So it's not all that different from the ones down south. You just never ride the metro line. Sure it is, it's all in the vibes. As a certified vibes expert, I proclaim that the vibes here are totally different. How are you making that sound with your mouth? Kodami laughed. After a while, I learned to stop questioning it. That's right, you haven't. Allie, you've known her for way longer than I have. There's some things about the nature of reality I haven't come to terms with. Jeez, okay. Kotomi walked over to one of the automated kiosks and printed 3 tickets, one for each of us. Okay. It was just Kotomi, Ali, and I today. Eri and Chio had stayed back at the apartment to go over the facts of the case once more. I would have liked to stay with them, but I can admit that my energy might be a bit of a hindrance for someone trying to think something through intellectually. So I'll be the best to let the detective do the work. So Kotomi, Ali, and I grouped up and decided to take the Yurakucho line to Chuo to check out the... Too many Japanese! I don't know what the hell I'm talking about! When we walked back and handed us our tickets, this is only valid for one trip. We'll get longer tickets on the other side. Got it. Konomi scanned our tickets for us and we walked through. Right to... Oh, shit. Was about half an hour. The train we were on was decorated with a lot of cute advertisements and decorations. Wow, this could be the future of public transportation! These are all things we have on the other Metro line Saturday. Just always take the bus. I glared at her jokingly. You're ruining my whimsical sense of discovery. That's vibes, Ali. Allison sighed but chuckled. Though the ride was uneventful, just looking out and seeing the sights of the capital of Japan as we rode through Bunkyo and Chiyoda made the ride feel like the gift of a lifetime for me. Normally partial to the nature vibes of Tanegashima, even if I missed it a little, having been away for so long. Even despite that, I found myself forgetting that I lived on Tanegashima in the first place. It felt natural after not living there for a few months, but it felt a little unnatural, like the fact of living there in the first place wasn't right. But I shook the thought from my mind. Stepping out of the station, Konomi pulled out her phone for directions. Here we are. We can split up from here, but make sure to keep in contact through text. At the absolute latest, let's meet back at the station by 4:30, yeah? Sounds good. Where are you two going? I'm going to Ginza 6. I've heard a lot about it for a while and want to check it out. How about you? I'll probably just wander around the streets for a bit. It's not often you get the chance to just wander around Tokyo. What are you going to do, Saturday? I'm going to take a taxi up to Akihabara. More my kind of vibe. It's pretty far out. Should I come with you? I mean, if you want to. I know how to use a taxi system. Allison seemed to contemplate for a second, but thought it would be better to just trust me, which I appreciated. Okay, just text me if something happens, okay? Yup, will do. I don't... Is this how people watching horror movies feel when they see the main group split up? Is this how they feel? They just get a sense that something's gonna happen. They get that sixth sense. That the rough circumstances that led us here, the chance for a trip to the capital isn't worth wasting. Eri and Chio could discuss them at home, but we were all more than willing to take a much-needed breather. Immediately after stepping out of Akihabara Station, I was assaulted with a wave of sound. It made sense after all. Akiba was the biggest electronic district of Tokyo, covered from head to toe or floor to ceiling, with anime and video game merchandise. Holy shit, this is insane! Of course, my excitement and adoration tripled once I actually reached the main strip of Akihabara. Even though its full glory shone in the night hours when the streets were all illuminated by the neon glow of the buildings from all angles, the sheer size of everything made my jaw drop. Buildings were adorned in signs in all possible positions, and even the characters on the sign seemed to be fighting for space just to say everything that the sign wanted to say. It was truly an information overload, and of course I felt right at home in the midst of this. I walked around in the radio building for a while, looking at every single one of the merch items that adorned each of the floors. After spending an hour here alone and realizing I was only on the third of 10 floors, I forced myself to walk back out for my own good. I ended up spending most of my time at the Game Station arcade. I didn't often get a chance to visit arcades, them being less common in the Southwest and straight up non-existent in Tanegashima. Yes! Finally got an S on a 10! Let's go! I spent the following hour and a half trying a bunch of new rhythm and fighting games I never got the chance to try, falling in love with a whole ton of new games all over again. That's what Kanshi Super does? How is that blockable at all? I'd known it for a while, but hanging on Akiba had told it. I'm definitely moving to Tokyo once all of this is over. Konomi was walking through Ginza, looking around at her, looking at all of the town shopping centers around her. I'm going to assume this is Dawn? I'm going just to assume that. Of course, a trip out to Ginza was a little more than a sightseeing trip for her. She and Eri were never particularly wealthy, and that held even more true now that they were running on limited funds that had been amassed during their months of working on a random grocery store in Kagoshima. Also, I'm glad that nightmare's over. Never send me back to retail again. The extravagant atmosphere of everything related to Tokyo, but especially Ginza, served as a sort of reminder for Konomi. A reminder of a fancier world that existed beyond what she had lived up to that point, being stuck at Tanegashima her whole life. Not to say she wanted to be super rich or anything naive like that. Konomi had a habit of letting others trample over her for the sake of her own success. if you don't really make it anywhere in life, if you don't learn to have the core and love for yourself as well. Konami stopped in front of a video game merch store, which weren't particularly common in Ginza. Did I accidentally walk all the way up to Akiba by mistake? Well, whatever. Wasn't really one for that kind of childish entertainment as she saw it, but decided to take a look inside anyway. The store wasn't nearly as big as the large expensive department stores that made Ginza what it was, but instead a humble one-story installation for a larger shopping complex. Konami browsed the aisles for a little while. Looked at titles of video games she never heard of. Oh, Xenostrike Legends. I think Saturday told me about that one. Though she never say it to her face, at least not for a while, Konami envied Saturday in a way. Saturday had the kind of freedom and energy that most people envy once they hit their 20s, and although Saturday would turn 20 the next July, Konami didn't doubt for a second that energy would stick around for a while. There was a little demo kiosk for some game console at the back of the store, and a couch set up to imitate a little gaming lounge. So for once in her life, Konami decided to enjoy a bit of the youth she thought she didn't have anymore. I ended up spending 2 hours in the store trying all of the different games. The owner of the store, a surprisingly older-looking woman, seemed to get great enjoyment from watching Konami try for hours to break all of the scores and see as much of each of the games available as she could on the limited demo kiosk. When her lunch break came, she decided to go down and sit down next to Konami on the couch. You sure haven't. I can't do an old woman voice. No! It's not often you get people spending a lot of time at our game store in this part of the city. Huh? Yeah, I guess it's been, 10 minutes? Sorry if I'm on a machine or something. The storekeeper laughs and leans back to the couch cushions. It's been an hour and a half, actually. But it's okay. Nobody else really comes by for that long. Especially don't see people using this whole thing. It's like a preview kiosk for some upcoming console, right? Maybe if you're in the year 2011. The Wii U died out due to the poor sales back in 2016. But they hold a special place in my heart, so I keep the demo kiosk up anyway. Huh, I had no idea. I don't play video games that often. Really? Where you're crushing all those scores. I thought a seasoned pro had walked into my shop. You're at the top of your life. Konami laughed, seemingly flustered. Yeah, I'm not a huge gamer or anything. I don't have time for that kind of, younger entertainment. The storekeeper let out a large chuckle you might hear from someone's grandmother. Who says video games are for the younger folk, anyway? I mean, look at me. In my 50s ages ago, and I'm still here running this little shack. Huh. I think I've never really thought about it that way. I remember being a young adult. You grow up, and then you think that's that. That is that. 3 that's. Your youthful days are over, and now you're an all serious adult who has to work a 9 to 5 and never think about anything. Jeez. As if. Your youthful energy only sticks with you as long as you let it. Konami didn't have a good response to that, but she knew the woman was right. Oftentimes she found herself getting caught up in the bittersweet chop called nostalgia, regretting that her days of freedom are gone. But the truth is, if you keep yourself in the good memories of the past, you can never make more good memories in the present or future. The storekeeper stood up. This thing was a commercial failure almost a decade ago, but I still have some for sale in the storeroom. This is my personal recommendation, but I think that's a great little console for trying out new things. Never had an overwhelmingly large game library. Nobody else wants them, but they are technically for sale. Konami thought about it for a second. What the hell. I'm not a fashionista. I don't think I'm going to be interested in much else in Ginza. Konami also stood up and walked over to the counter. She ended up walking out of the store with a console and a few games. Sorry, 4. Allison ended up not buying much, instead looking around at all the expensive clothes and finally finding herself a place to sit down in the food court. Of course, she knew that she wouldn't end up buying much. She was more so just taking the atmosphere of a place where so many people cared about their appearance and the way they present themselves to the world. So many people here in fancy, cute outfits. I kind of feel out of place sitting here with just my normal jacket. Allison was never particularly one to care about her outward appearance or presentation, and she never really understood why people would, at least not in the beginning. All of this changed when Saturday came out to her as transgender, though. Thinking back on it, it's really been 7 years since then. Man, I don't want to think about the fact that September 2015 was over 7 years now. So that means this takes place in 2022. Alright. At first, Allison hadn't really understood the concept of Saturday. I brought it up to her, but thinking about it for a little bit, it felt fairly obvious to her. Why shouldn't people get the chance to choose who they want to be? I'm glad we at least have a game that just outright says it. She's trans. Just straight up. Gender, sexuality, race, religion, all those properties don't matter as long as the person is kind and humane. That was what Allison believed, so she was relatively quick to accept who Saturday wanted to be. But both of them were still young, so the idea of someone harboring hate stemming from another person's identity didn't make sense to them. Truly, to be young is to be more blissful. Yeah, this is not from Saturday. Though Allison had always been more confident about her gender and being fine with who she was on that front, Saturday's own realizations about her own identity did lead Allison to think a bit on her own life throughout the years. It was through this that Allison realized she was asexual. Huh. Okay. I remember growing up thinking, wow, all this stuff is kind of gross. And then everyone would tell me, you'll stop thinking it's gross when you're older. And I just never stopped thinking it was gross. Allison had struggled with that for a long time. She felt like because she wasn't seeing what everyone else saw, she was defective or something was wrong with her. Saturday helping her out with her own journey of self-discovery was what made her fall in love in the first place. Even from the start, Allison and Saturday had always been the most important person in each other's lives. One might wonder how it took so long for their true feelings to blossom. Suddenly, Allison's phone buzzed. When she read the chat log on her lock screen, she couldn't help but burst out in smug laughter. How do you leave the subway? Follow the yellow exit signs. Heading up. No, like, what does the exit gate want from me? Put your ticket in, and then it'll open and shoot through. Was I supposed to get my ticket back from the station I put it into? Oh, God. Oh. Yes. It comes out the other side. Oh! Uh-oh. The helpless grin. Allison stood up from the food court. It looked like she would have to rescue Saturday from the Ginza metro station. This game gets me. I realized something while I was off screen. I didn't realize. I was like, what are these characters? Where can I unlock them? Is there any way I can unlock them? Well, I found out pretty quick. But yeah, I know how to buy these now. But this is exactly what we need. Chia carried a large cork board into the room. Harry looked at her with an exasperated glare. Seriously? What? I've always wanted one of these, and your notepad is very clearly running out of space. Harry looked down. It was true. Her notepad had been her primary method of taking notes since she started working as a detective, and it was almost completely filled up. She sighed. Okay, one more time from the top. We know that Suki went back to work, disappeared on her lunch break, boarded a ferry, went to the shrine, and then nothing. Do we even have anything else? Chia thought to herself for a second. Nothing I can think of. Let's count the fact that the universe is conspiring against us. Firewall without a source in a coincidental cave-in are kind of suspicious, don't you think? Well, you think that there's a god out there that's pissed at us? She had said it as a joke, but Chio didn't flinch or laugh. At this point, would you be surprised? It all seems fake, I guess. Like we're following a trail of breadcrumbs that's strayed just far enough from the truth for us to follow it without question. That's an interesting take, actually. Do you think? At that moment, the door slammed open and Chio and Ari both jumped. Allison, Konami, and I walked into the room. Oh, welcome back. How's Ginza? So cool. We got a lot of fun stuff, and I definitely did not get lost in Ginza Station on the way back. It didn't happen. Allison, Konami? That happened. I glared at them and then carried the bags full of apparel and goodies that we brought over to the kitchen counter. Konami slumped over onto the couch, absolutely exhausted. Allison, on the other hand, noticed the comically oversized corkboard and started fawning over it. Whoa, that's the biggest corkboard I've ever seen. You've organized it so well. Are these tasks color-coded? Oh my god, they're organized by date followed by an alphabetical sort. This is the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes on. Aaron Konami looked at this strange turn of character with confused expressions, but I just stood in the corner just smirking. Even Chio surprised by her strange passion for corkanization. Yeah, and the verticality shows approximate time. I have a looping from around 7 a.m. at the top to 6 a.m. at the bottom. Because this less concentration of events that leads to more coherent organizational structure. Oh my god, yes! She's gonna be at this for a while. I just had to leave the two of them to their excited ramblings about organization and cork. Ari walked over to me. So what the two of you managed to figure out while we were gone? Anything new? Ari sighed. Nothing, unfortunately. You're spitballing a few theories, but unless you have a good explanation for the random acts of nature impeding our progress, we've kind of hit a roadblock. I think we'll need to look at some of the lesser places of interest in the Tokyo area and hope to find a new trail. I was kind of expecting that, honestly. I have good news. I got you a plush while we were in Ginza. I shuffled around a bit before pulling the plush in question out of my bag. A crudely drawn cat vaguely shaped to be huggable. I will cherish this greatly. Erin quickly scurried to find a spot in the room to act as a pedestal for it. I'm glad she likes it. The next time I glanced over, I saw her placing what I can only assume is an offering bowl in front of it. She placed a handful of coins from her purse. It's strange seeing this out of Ari, but it's sweet. Looking back on the corkboard, Chia was exasperatedly guiding Allison through every single note placed on it, seemingly running out of stamina. Allison seemed to be none the wiser to this, though. Guess I'll clean myself up a little. I walked into the washroom and splashed some water on my face when I was washing my hands. However, I felt a vibration in my pocket. A phone? Could that be? Fumbling around in my jacket pocket and pulled out my phone, but I didn't have any notifications. So it dawned on me that I didn't have my vibration notifications turned on my phone in my first place. What's going on here? Reaching into my pocket again, I pulled over my other phone, the burner that Ari had given me. Maybe he wanted to let me know that the battery is dying. Fortunately, that was not the case. The display read one new message. Huh? That's not possible. I opened the rudimentary messaging app and opened the unread message. When I saw what it was, I froze. Hexadecimal. This is some kind of prank? Of course, the hexadecimal wasn't what caught my eye first. The sender was 666F757. I'm not reading a lot. My own phone. I rushed back into the living room out of breath. Allison was done with her corkboard fantasizing. I was sitting on the couch and called to me. All of them looked up at me. Saturday, what's wrong? I phoned it. There was a message and sensing that I was panicking a bit, Allison stood up and walked over to me. Come on, sit down. What happened? I sat on the couch and exhaled. I explained the text message that appeared on my burner phone with myself listed as the sender. Ari frowned. Yeah, by all means, that shouldn't be possible. I don't think I have to ask you if you were actually the one who sent the message. Yeah, of course I wasn't. I'm not concerned with the message content itself. That's readable hexadecimal. Most of the bytes are within the lowercase ASCII range. Yeah, you're right. I'll transcribe it. A took out her phone and plugged the hexadecimal into an online tool. It says, Fourth Report MP4. A file name? My blood ran cold. There's only one thing this mystery person could be hinting at by sending only a file name. Sure enough, it led to a video on the shrimport.xyz site, which presented a similar kind of puzzle to the original video from way back in the summer. He spent a good hour or so trying to solve the cipher. That's an address at the time, similar to the original video, an empty lot near Shinjuku Station at the time of 8:15 p.m. on November 19th, tomorrow. Y'all went silent after that. It was clear what the message was asking us to do. Okay, if no one else is going to say it, I will. This is totally a trap, right? Well, yes. Duh. Definitely. Also one I'm not sure we can afford avoiding. Normally I'd investigate with backup, but we don't have that luxury. Ari stood up from the couch and clenched her fist. Gio, would you mind accompanying me tomorrow, in case it's dangerous? You're the oldest one here. I'm sorry I have to involve a civilian in a situation like this, but I need backup of some kind. Backup of some kind, and you're definitely the most able to fend for yourself. Of course, Ari. Stood up protesting. Hold on, why just you two? I know it's dangerous, but this message was directed at me, right? They definitely want me there. Because if it is a trap, we'd be bringing you directly in harm's way. Isn't that my choice to make, not yours? I understand, but please, I want to know the truth. There's no convincing you otherwise, is there? So, are you sure you want to do this? I don't want something to happen to you. I'm sure. Please let me come. This feels like a culmination of everything that's happened these past few months. I'm begging you guys. You're right, I guess. But I'm coming with you. Ari started protesting, but stopped herself. Hold on, Oh, never mind. But you two are going to be on a tight leash, okay? Allison and I both nod. Ari knew by now that the only person as stubborn as I am is Allison. That'd be a waste of time and energy trying to fight us. We also knew that Ari just wants us to be safe, so we don't usually go against her wishes unless it's really important. It's settled then. If we leave by 7:30, we can get there at the designated time easily. I suppose you're also going to want to come to me? Of course I am. I breastfed my sister going to the enemy's nest. You want me to stay at home twiddling my thumbs? Not happening. Konomi's determination was unwavering, something that we rarely saw from her. But she knew how to stick to her beliefs when it came down to it. It was one of the reasons we got along well in the first place. Very well. Until then, let's try not to worry. Fear is the mind. Something. That was relatively short, actually. I'm going to assume this is one of those longer episodes. Yeah, I knew it. We had tried to take our minds off of what was coming, but it was a fruitless effort. It was approximately 90 minutes before the time specified in the puzzle video, and I was sitting on the bed in my guest room in Chio's apartment. Wasn't sure how to explain the feeling, but it felt like everything was converging to this single night. Wasn't sure if I was ready to find the answers that were waiting for me, but the video message's appearance had made it plenty clear that I no longer had any choice in the matter. Door opened and Allison walked in. Are you okay? Yeah, I am. I'm just nervous. She sat down on the bed beside me and rested her head on my shoulder. I'd be more surprised if you weren't nervous. I'm nervous too. I think everyone is. But I don't doubt that you've got it worse. So much of this is centered around your own feelings. I guess it's just important that I make sure you know that I'm here for you if you need me for anything. Ever. I think that's the main reason I've been able to come so far. Yeah? What makes you say that? She was hiding it, but I could tell that got her all flustered. She had that oddly insecure side to her compassion. At first, I wanted to pretend that everything was okay. All those months ago on that day that ended in the museum fire. I hurt you and myself by trying to force myself to believe I was doing better than I was. So I started trying to be more honest. Open up more when I was feeling out of it. I've worried a little all this time. All this time that your high spirits over these past 2 months have been the result of you putting on a brave face. I worried about that too. It's way too easy to fall into unhealthy habits without realizing it. When I took the time to analyze the situation that I was in, I found that it was all true. I was able to live some of my most true months this past fall, even despite my life being completely upended ever since the summer. And well, yeah, I owe some of that to Eri and Kultumi and even Chio. I think most of it was because of you. You flatterer. I'm not special. There are tons of girls like me. Whether that's true or not doesn't change anything, because I don't have this kind of connection with any of them. I'm a sucker for this. Glancing at Allison, she buried her head in my shoulder, obviously not expecting a wholehearted answer to her joking question. You've changed too. Have I? Absolutely, you have. That Allison of summer 2022 would have told me that there's absolutely no way we should pay any mind to the puzzle video. I don't know if you realized it, but at some point, your goalpost shifted from trying to stop me from action to being there for me when action arises. And that helped me a lot. Seriously. I think that after the museum incident, and then especially the cave-in, I just kind of realized there was no turning back. That really was the turning point. I really should give myself more credit. It's no big deal, really. I don't think I deserve any kind of special praise. I leaned over, planted a kiss on her cheek. Well, you're getting it anyway. What a shame. What? You know what? Fair. How do you vocalize that kind of sound with your mouth? You gotta tell me. Maybe once you tell me how to vocalize a tilde. Both of us laughed and sat in silence for a little longer, reveling in the moments as if the world was going to end in a matter of seconds. The peace could only last so long. My alarm went off. Time to get going? Yeah, it is. Are you ready? No, I'm not. That's okay. I'll be right here with you every step of the way. I know. Thank you, Allie. I love you. Love you too. Now let's not keep Chio waiting. We stood up and walked out of the room. I flicked the lights off with the switch on the wall, and as I did, I took one more glance around the room. How many things will have changed by the time I step into this room again? Location specified in the video message was right by Shinjuku Station, so it was only a short train ride away from Ikebukuro. As we rode on the train, Eri briefed us on the backup plans in case something went awry. Obviously, our burner phones are the best way to send out any kind of SOS. Assume you all brought yours? Yeah, we did, but why are you only checking this now? Shouldn't you have double-checked this before we left? You're right. Seems like it all worked out in the end, so there's no need to dwell on it. I could tell from her tone that she had also spent most of the time before we left preparing herself mentally for whatever was about to come. Over the past 2 months, I've come to realize that Eri is much less steel-willed as she seems, probably even more fragile than Kotsumi. She's gotten better at opening herself up to those insecurities, but it's a process. So she's still the hard-ass police detective who isn't allowed to emote at times. I looked around at my friends. The thought entered my mind that I might not get to see one or all of them after the events of the night, but I dismissed that thought from my mind. Alison saw me tense up slightly anyway, though, and gripped my hand tighter as if to say, it's going to be okay in the end. That more or less helped the phone calm me down. Though the train ride was short, it felt like it lasted an eternity. But even eternity reaches the end of time eventually, and sure enough, we got off the metro line at Shinjuku Station and walked up into the busy streets of the red light district. The location we'd been pointed to was visible immediately after leaving the station. It was... Wait, what's going on here? I thought it was an empty lot on the map. It definitely was. Looks like the gate to the lot is open, almost like we're being welcomed in. My uneasy feelings rose up briefly, but I gripped Allison's hand harder, and we walked forward through the fence surrounding the building that shouldn't be there. The building was tall, easily about 15 stories. When we walked around the back, there was a plate near the door that made me freeze in my tracks. Sunrise build. Oh. Hearing my shock, Eri, Kotomi, and Chio hurried over. Sure enough, the back entrance has a sign above it that read Sunrise BLDG Rear Entrance. The Sunrise Foundation again. They've been all over this mystery, and now a building with the same name has appeared in the lot that we were led to believe was empty. Shouldn't be a stretch to say that something's up here. You're right. Why didn't this building come up? Something else is bothering me. Four of us looked at Ari. What is it, When we were walking in here, I saw one of the pedestrians look at me and overheard them say something along the lines of, why are they going into that empty lot? You think they can't see the huge-ass building for some reason? It's not impossible. As if to them it doesn't exist. So then why can we see it? Because I have allowed you to. Oh, who is this? Okay, it's Dawn. They're finally meeting Dawn. Okay. The five of us jumped at the sudden arrival of a voice unfamiliar to us. Spinning around really fast, we saw a woman in a long dress leaning against the side of the building. Who are you? Are you... Relax. I'm not your enemy. I'm the one who called you here in the first place. I detected me you would be... Kisho Bayori, right? Yeah, that's right. I'm the one who sent you that message. How'd you get the contact for our burner phones? Careful surveillance. Have you been stalking us? No. Are you done with the questions? I called you here because I thought it might be time for you to learn the truth. And why should we listen to you? She came all the way out here in the first place. Why'd you do that if you have no intention of listening to me? It's okay, Chio-san. Kisho? What do you know? Do you know where my sister is? You could say that, yes. It was with a vague response. Oh my... I think it would be better if you saw for yourself. That's why I let you here. The truths lie in this building, normally obstructed from what you can see. I'm really not used to talking this much. Got the mouth of an extrovert, but the throat of an introvert. I hate it. So I've allowed you to see it. Is it like some optical illusion thing? No, that can't be right. For now, I just need you to trust me. You'll find all of the answers you're looking for in here. So let's go. You can get us in? Yes. Hurry up now. With an attitude that clearly said she had no time for fooling around, Kisho walked to the door and opened it up. It appeared to already be unlocked, but that couldn't be right. I tried to open that earlier and it was locked. I didn't hear to unlock it earlier. Just who is this girl? Five of us exchanged a worried but determined glare. As we discussed, Konami, I'd like you to stay outside here and notify us if anything goes awry. Still okay with that, yeah? Yeah, I am. I might you immediately if something pops up. Before ready? No, not at all. But let's go anyway. I let go of Allison's hand, and Allison, Ari, and Chief walked towards the door. As I started following them, Konami tapped my shoulder. Hey, Saturday, come here for a minute. What's up? Noticing that I'd stopped, Allison turned around inquisitively. I assured her it'd be right there and ran back over to Konami. No, you already know this, but in case you need a reminder, don't ever feel like you have to push yourself too hard in order to find answers, okay? It's okay to feel overwhelmed and take a step back. Yeah, you're right. Thanks, Kotsumi. Yeah, good luck in there. I rushed back over to where the others were standing, and we entered in the door, following the strange woman who called herself Kisho Bayori. The lobby, as we could tell from the windows outside, was dark. In fact, none of the lights in the entire building appeared to be on, which further helped to drive home the uneasy feeling that we were inside a building that shouldn't exist. Good, you're here. Where did Kotsumi go? We decided before coming here that if it came to us having to infiltrate some kind of building, she'd remain on lookout outside. It's not a problem, I assume. She spoke matter-of-factly with a cold tone I'd never heard from her before. She clearly didn't trust Kisho, and for good reason. Kisho sighed, but ultimately didn't argue back. No, something's up, man. It's never felt so terrible to speak out loud. Maybe I'll get used to it? Yes, that's fine. You should be quick regardless. I can't keep this up all day. Keep what up? You're going to have to start actually explaining, you know? You're going to bring us out here to the building that nobody else can see and make us infiltrate it with you. The least you could do is lower your condescending attitude. Kisho looked like she wanted to snap back against that, but ultimately decided against it. Fine. This building is the headquarters of the Sunrise Foundation, which is, under almost all circumstances, hidden from the public eye. What I want to show you is on the top floor, which we can get to via the elevator. Sunrise Foundation, huh? What is it really? There's no way it's just a geology corporation. It's all over this case, even from the very beginning. Of course it's not a geology corporation. There's a reason that everyone is led to believe it is. I think it would be better to explain it on the elevator right up. Mind following me a little longer? You know, fair enough. The four of us followed her as she led us down a few hallways to a staff elevator. Despite the lack of lights in the building, the power to the elevator seemed to be working. After a short while, the door made a ding sound and opened up. Ah, God, light! The elevator blasted us with light. It looked like light was on in there, at least. We followed Kisho into the elevator. Inside the elevator, Keisha pressed the button for the topmost floor, floor 17. The elevator whirred a bit, and then the doors closed. The walls of the last thing connecting us to the world had been sealed shut, and the elevator cabin began to ascend. I suppose I'll ask you outright. Do you know what the Duskbreaker project is? Dusk... what now? Upon hearing the word Duskbreaker, I felt a minor headache coming on, but I managed to push through. The Duskbreaker project is, well, in a way, you could say it's the true purpose of the Sunrise Foundation in its entirety. Geology business is a front of some sort, hiding what the company is really about. So what is the Duskbreaker project? Why is it so secret that they have to fake being a geology company to hide it? Well, they don't fake being a geology... whatever. The Duskbreaker project, or just the Duskbreaker, as it's usually called, is effectively a neural interface supercomputer. Neural? Like it messes with your brain? Well, in a sense, yes, but that's not what its main purpose was. So what was its main purpose? Keisha stopped for a second, as if for the first time she was hesitant on whether to continue. I gripped Allison's hand again, and she gripped back to assure me that everything was going to be okay. Keisha finally spoke again. The Dustbreaker's main purpose is a world simulation device. If you've ever seen that movie from the 80s, The Matrix, it's like that. Well, not exactly. Just the part where it's simulating a world. Nobody was really sure what to say. What Keisha was saying was so outlandish, but all of us knew deep down that she had no reason to lie. Why we were so sure of this, I still don't know. But nobody tried to call her bluff or tell her she was full of shit. The technology was, obviously, very secret. I'm not privy to knowing why the Sunrise Foundation was formed, or why they sought to create such a powerful machine. The facts remain that the Dustbreaker does exist, and it's at the center of everything related to your sister's disappearance Saturday. To tell the truth, even from the start, I knew that there had to be some big company involved with all of this. But a world simulation is... I didn't even know humanity had the technology to make something like that. Well, you could always ask the lead engineers. Both of them are in this elevator. What? All of us jumped, though even less surprised by the revelation that a world simulator exists than we even thought we'd be. Nobody seemed prepared for that one. The lead engineer on this project was Kisho Bayori, myself, and the assistant lead engineer was One Chiyos. She's the lead. Oh! Oh, shit! Okay, wait. Whoa. How do I... Okay, she's a... Okay. Me? Everyone turned to look at Chio, who seemed the most surprised out of any... Maybe Uh, they were talking about how her memories were shifted or something. At least in the last episode, so... I guess it's... Are you serious? Why don't I remember this? Do you not? It makes sense that you would forget the exact details. But you yourself said you had memories of working at the Sunrise Foundation, don't you? It said so casually that most of us didn't think much of it, but Ari, being the most natural detective that she was, didn't let that slip up. Hold on, how do you know about that? He just met you today. Chio definitely didn't talk about that any time within the last few weeks. Wait, yeah, it's not right. What are you playing at, Keisha? Right? Who are you? You're not Keisha. Whoa! As if the next domino in a row of revelations had fallen over. All of us turned to look at Chio, surprised. It's true that I have fragments of memories of working at the Sunrise Foundation. They were working on a Dustbreaker project, and I don't know why the hell I would have forgotten. But I do remember when Keisha Bayori, and she was not you. So who are you? The woman who had until this point called herself Keisha Saida, she was minorly inconvenienced. It was the most believable way to get you into the Sunrise building. I just took the most logical path. You tricked us. What the hell are you going to do to us? Nothing. I'm doing what I promised you I'd do. Showing you the truth. This was just the best way to present it. Of course, I knew this would happen as well. It happens every other time. I'm sorry, what? Every other time? You'll see. Is this not the first time they've been here? You'll see. Look, I know it's a lot to ask you for your trust after lying about my identity, but I'm not here to be your enemy. The answers for everything are at the top of this building. Answers about the Dustbreaker, answers about your conflicting memories, answers about how all of this ties back into your dear sister. As if on cue, the elevator finally stopped its descent and the doors opened to a dark hallway. We must call me anything dawn will suffice. But we have to be quick, because the real enemy will catch on before long. Hurry along, now. The woman who now wore the name Dawn walked into the shadow of the lightless hall towards the end. I felt Allison's hand grip mine again. Are you doing okay, Sad? I think so. For now it's a lot, but I can do it. I have to do it. Still here by your side. Yeah. The four of us left the elevator into the hallway. The door closed behind us, casting our entire sight into complete darkness once more. There was just enough light for us to make our way down the narrow hall. Though there were doors on either side of us, none of the nameplates or anything written on them, giving the impression that this floor was not to be used by anyone. Finally, we caught up with Dawn. She stood in front of a large double door at the end of the hallway, seemingly waiting for us and double-checking something. This is the only office on this floor that's occupied. It's the president's office. As the president of the Sunrise Foundation? Yes, this is his office. It's the first truth governing everything. Are you prepared? I stopped for a second, almost instinctively answering yes, and took the time to steady my breathing. I grounded myself using the warmth of the hand of the person I loved, and exhaled. Please open the door. Dawn seemed to understand my answer. She pushed the double doors open and invited us inside the office. The office, like the hallway and lobby, was shrouded in darkness. Dawn pulled what seemed to be a miniature flashlight. She walked to the front of the desk and leaned against it, facing me. Saturday, do you know who the founder of the Sunrise Foundation is? Did I? I thought about it. I should know this, but everything in my mind is screaming at me that I don't. So that makes sense. I don't think I do. I see. Then take a look. She stepped aside and threw me the flashlight. I caught it and turned it on, pointing it at the desk where she was just leaning. The light illuminated a small nameplate on the desk. Adorned in some related decor, the name read Setsuki Setsuki. I wish I knew whose name this was. Setsuki Tasagari. My father. Okay! Where? Okay. My dad is the president of... My breathing intensified, my heart rate rose rapidly. Sensing that I was beginning to fall into a panic, Alison rushed over to the front of the desk where I was standing with a flashlight from me. Placing her hand back in mine, squeezing it tight, I breathed. Setsuki Tasagare is my father, and he's the president of the Sunrise Foundation. Though it should have been a major revelation, nobody in the room was losing their mind from the shock. On the contrary, it felt like a lot of things finally clicked into place. God, yeah, that seems right, doesn't it? I turned to face the woman calling herself Dawn. Dawn, what's going on with our memories? Why do these conflicts keep happening? Why does it feel like all of our memories have been overwritten, or just now getting them back? Dawn hesitated, a rare sight for her, but finally she spoke. I think it would be best if we continued. There's still more to be seen. At those words, something finally boiled over inside Alison. She snapped. Okay, I've had enough of this. How long are you going to string us along to force us to play by your rules? Even if you're trying to show us the truth, you're doing it in a way where you're more or less just toying with our emotions. Is this like a game to you? Do you actually care about Saturday learning the truth so that she feels better? Is this all just kind of fucking story to you? Not even have a little bit of compassion to give her the time of the goddamn day? Dawn stood up from her leaning position against the wall, angry. How dare you? I'm trying to help you, and this is what I get? We only have so long before the World Keeper takes notice of what's going on, and we get sent back to Cycle Start. Even now? Just keep spouting off this shit like you expect us to just understand, but when we actually ask for clarification, just say, the answer's up ahead, ooh, and expect us to just be okay with that. What the hell is a cycle? Who is the World Keeper? Can you finally answer some of our goddamn questions? As the tensions in the room clearly continued to escalate, someone other than the two ugly finally spoke up. It's Eric. Yep. Okay, Alison, let's calm down. I understand your anger, and Dawn, it's time for you to give us some answers. On our terms. You should clearly benefit from us knowing the truth in some way, and if you don't start actually listening, running right back down where we came from. Eric was surprisingly good at defusing this kind of situation in her own unique way. Spoke to Alison with compassion and understanding, and switched to being cold when addressing Dawn near instantly. It was one of the things I most respected. I kind of feared about her. Dawn seemed completely unbothered, though. She changed back into her normal, serious self instantly, so fast it almost felt like she had never lost her temper to begin with. It felt inhuman. Dawn, I'd like to ask you a question about the Duskbreaker. The hypothesis I've come to with all the context you've given us. All I have to do is confirm or deny if I'm correct. Yes, I could do without the in-depth explanation. I'll answer. Before I ask, Saturday, I turned to face Alison and I. Depending on the answer to this question, everything can change, and I do literally mean everything. Are you sure you'd like to stay in the room, or should I wait to ask? After a few more deep breaths, I answered honestly. I'm staying. Please ask your question. I want to know. Very well. She turned back towards Dawn. Between all the insane things you mentioned tonight, and looking at the state of this building in itself, a lot of things don't make sense. There's one possibility that makes everything fall into place. It's insane and unreal. Only insane and unreal is a device capable of simulating. Are we in it right now? I'm trying to. The world that we live in, the world we walk in, the world that we're standing in right now. Is this the real world or the simulated world inside the Dustbreaker? Wait! There was a short moment of silence. I let a completely forced laugh. Come on, Harry, really? I mean, I don't doubt this Dustbreaker thing exists, but there's no way, right? Don, however, sighed. I suppose the answer you're looking for is that this is the simulated world of the Dustbreaker, though describing it as not being the real world is a bit of a false descriptor. I see. Chio, please move Saturday and Allison to the corner over there. Chio jumped at the sudden request. Allison and I were too stunned to refuse to even say anything at all. We moved to the corner of the room. It all happened in an instant. Ari whipped a small pistol out of her jacket and pointed it directly at Dawn. I'm going to ask a few more questions and going to answer. What? Wait! Wait. Are you going to answer them? Understood? Dawn, however, did not seem at all fazed by the gun pointed directly at her chest. You know, I wasn't sure about the right time to bring this up, so sorry if this is another major revelation. There was something I noticed when investigating Tsukisakis all those months back that I never talked about. Huh? What is it? A whole lot of books about something called the meta layer concept. It's all pseudoscience bubble jumble. If applied to this situation, a lot of things suddenly make sense. Basically, it talks about the idea of world layers. The idea that there are dimensions above us that look down on us as we do to fiction. I can't say I understood much of it at all, but well, a lot of the things would make sense if this woman in front of us was from a different world. Are you serious? How is that even possible? Dawn sighed. Not only is it possible, but she's right. I'm not originally from this meta layer. None of us are. This is a simulated world, not a natural meta layer. Look. The moment we heard the word look left her mouth, she was gone. In an instant, she appeared behind Ari and snatched the gun out of her hand, then simply zipped back into her original position. Amy flinched and dropped her composure for a second, but steeled herself again. To you, it probably seems like I teleported just now, correct? In a sense, I suppose you could call it that. In reality, all I did was manipulate my own properties, notably my time scale and coordinate positions. It would take way too long to explain how the Dustbreaker works. It's not too important for what I'm trying to achieve for you to know the exact details of it. What? What you need to know is how we all got here in the first place, why we're here, why the Dustbreaker was turned on. Dawn nonchalantly walked over to the desk that belonged to my dad. She opened a drawer and hit some kind of hidden switch, and in an instant, a loud crumbling sound could be heard. The bookcase at the back of the room began to move ever so slightly, revealing a hidden elevator door. Dawn turned to look at me, still unsure of how to react to anything that had happened in the past 10 minutes. This elevator leads to Sunrise Foundation's hidden basement. Inside is the room where the Dustbreaker is stored in the real world. It's where the truth lies. I'll wait for you down below. Please follow when you're ready. Once again, back to speaking of shifts, she was simply dishing out logistical commands. Dawn pressed the button on the elevator to call it. She disappears as the door closed, leaving Allison, Chio, and Ari and I alone in the darkness of my father's office. A few minutes passed, but nobody said anything. Finally, Ari was the one to break the silence. Sorry you have to see me like that. How are you three holding up? I tried to say I'm doing fine, but my own emotions took over and I got choked up before I could finish. I fell to my knees on the carpet floor. So fucking overwhelmed. I don't know what the hell is even real anymore. What the hell? Allison kneeled down to wrap her arms around me. I'm so sorry, Sat. You can go home now if you want. It's really clear this is way above what any of us expected. No, I want to keep going. I just need a moment. The many moments I was given. Kneeling on the ground, I sobbed for a good 10 more minutes. I probably would have continued for another hour if Allison wasn't right there with me. Finally, I stood up. I turned to Chio. Chio, about your memories. Come back yet? Not all of them. But I remember why we started the Dustbreaker project. What it was that Setsuki, that your dad wanted to achieve. Please tell me, please. I want to know what led to all of this. I can't tell you the whole story because I don't know it. I'm assuming that that woman has her own side of the story to tell, down in the secret basement. But from my recollection, it goes something like this. I don't think I was ever privy to what it was, but something really horrible happened in your childhood Saturday. You were traumatized really badly as a result and spent a lot of your early years as a recluse, never going to school or making any friends. I remember Satsuki telling me a lot about those days. I think he thought that it would improve over time. Maybe he thought it would improve faster than it really would. For whatever reason, Satsuki was really down when it seemed to him like you weren't feeling any better as fast as he expected you to. I don't think he wanted to rush you or anything. I don't really understand the feelings of a parent, though. Regardless, growing up and observing how much you were hurt by whatever it was that happened to you changed Satsuki's outlook on a lot of things in life. I don't know if your memory's only to remember. Satsuki was a large shareholder in a lot of really big corporations around the time you were born. After it became clear to him how deeply you were traumatized, he sold a lot of his shares and funded the Sunrise Foundation. What even is the Sunrise Foundation? It's clear that it isn't the geology company that we've all been led to believe. Then this next part is complete speculation on my behalf. I think the whole geology thing was a part of this simulated world, not an actual part of the Sunrise Foundation as it is in reality. That sounds right. Because I don't remember Setsuki ever mentioning anything about a geology front to me when I was working there. I only joined on to work on the Dustbreaker project, which was the fourth major project by the company. The whole goal of the company was to experiment with alternative scientific approaches to psychiatry. Basically, trying to use technology to assist with recovering from mental health issues. So what was the Dustbreaker, supposed to do? This doesn't sound like whatever it was meant to do worked correctly. Yeah, definitely not. Can't speak on the previously project, the Sunrise Foundation. By the Sunrise Foundation, but the Dustbreaker was meant to be as a sort of VR exposure therapy in a way. It meant to provide a safe, simulated environment for a subject to face their trauma. I don't like that. That idea sounds... Yeah, that idea sounds flawed from a premise alone. Oh, jeez. It probably was, but Sasuke was determined to a fault. It bordered on unhealthy obsession. First from coworkers who were around the company for longer than I was, that he wasn't always like that. But I'm not sure what changed him. Dad, what were you trying to do? If that's the case, then how do we end up here, instead of the actual simulation itself? How do we get out of here? Fortunately, I don't have the answers for that. That's where my memory's cut off. Were they wiped? No, not like the others. I think whatever it was that happened to lead to all of this, something got blocked out of my own memory. Long silence fell over us again. Every once in a while, I felt panic creeping back into me, but I studied my breathing and kept myself grounded. Finally, I felt like I was ready. I think it's time to go see what Dawn is trying to show me. I don't want to go alone, though. Allison, can you? Of course I can. I'll be right here with you. Shio and Eri, I promise we'll be back as soon as we can. Can you remain here for now on lookout? Try to get in touch with Kotsumi and update her. Yeah, of course. Saturday, whatever horrible truth is at the center of all this, I'm sorry. I helped contribute to something that led to all of this, and I can't apologize enough for that. I sighed. I don't have time to think about my feelings on that right now. But what matters is that you're here helping us right now, so I'm focusing on that instead. Shio nodded in understanding. I took Allison's hand again and pressed the button on the secret elevator. The door opened, temporarily bathing the room in the light that signaled our approach to the center of this world. The center of this story. Good luck. Thank you. You too. He stepped into the elevator and watched the doors close, obstructing Eri and Chio from my view for what I could only pray would not be the last time I'd ever see them. The truth is seen. Do we get no secret song in this? As we rode down the elevator, I felt a large amount of energy leave my body, and I leaned on Allison's shoulder. Sorry, I'm just tired. I can't blame you, but you're doing really, really good, you know. I'm really proud of you. You're doing really well yourself. It's almost like nothing phases you. Huh. Nah, it's a lot to take in. I think I just process stuff way more internally than you do. Not that being external about it is at all a bad thing. It's just different, you know? Yeah, I get you. The elevator plummeted into the depths of the unexisting building. It was a long, long ride. Finally, the elevator came to a stop, and the doors opened into a dark hall. Oh, this is what I saw in Chapter 1! Wait a second! The basement hallway of the Sunrise building, though it was as dark as the other halls we traversed on our way up to the 17th floor, had a completely different atmosphere. It looked like a hall you might see in a horror video game. Silent Hill. As Alice and I walked along the dark hall, our footsteps reverberated across the walls as if judging us for being in a place we should have never adventured. But we were here, and weren't turning back until we found the horrible truth that this place housed. The end of the hall was a single door. The woman who had turned our lives upside down in just a single night was standing in front of it, waiting. Dawn opened her mouth as if to say something along the lines of, "Took you long enough getting here." It decided against it. I'm running out of time. The World Keeper, has noticed what I'm trying to do. Who is the World Keeper? Pretty much my polar opposite. I'm here to guide you to the truth, and she's here to prevent you from finding it. I don't have time to explain more. Sorry. At this, the figure of Dawn began to flicker and glitch out. It looked as if she was disappearing from the world itself. Saturday. Besides the truth at the center of everything. Doesn't explain all the questions. It's the biggest answer. It'll be hard to face. But please, for your own sake, you have to... Dawn? Dawn! Dawn was no longer present in the room. It looked as if she had been torn apart from the world itself. But given everything we'd learned, it doesn't seem right. She's probably been relocated by whatever that World Keeper thing is. Alice and I stood in silence for a bit, waiting for her to come back. But she never did. Do we go inside? I don't know. As if that was really a question, I placed my hand on the rusted door handle and turned it. The light of truth seeped out of the room. In a place, a violet-shaded shadow morphed into the fabric of the environment. Figured you'd catch on sooner or later. On the other side of the room, the World Keeper stood, anger adorning her face. What? 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 Wait, didn't I call this? No, wait, I remember this. I literally called this. Dude, okay. What the hell do you think you're doing? Why are you surprised? I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Fulfilling the reason I exist. You thought I would just sit here and let you put her through that? No. But it'll keep you busy long enough to give me a head start. Don't give me that shit. At her furious words, Suki spun her hand around her back. A large group of energy particles formed around it and a long glowing shape took form. It was a sight formed of resilience to protect the order of the world. A weapon used to reap death being wielded by death itself. This cycle ends here. Oh, that's my turn to say my lines. Dawn raised her own arm, and in it, particles of narrative resilience to face the truth gathered. In her hand formed a much shorter but equally powerful weapon. It's a pistol, small but effective, like a detective might use. Dawn twirled it around and landed it on fire square Suki's chest. Didn't anyone ever tell you it's a bad idea to bring a scythe to a gunfight? The opening move was made, one shot fired. Of course, that bullet was never going to hit anything other than the wall, but someone had to make a first move. Suki flew into the air, gracefully but with offensive intent rather than defensive. She brought her scythe down towards where Dawn was standing. Dawn dodged out of the way just in time, like she had done so many times before. The fighting continued. Cycles go by. Minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, full cycles, almost not even reaching this point in the narrative. Slight alterations in the altercation. Subtle movement chases, but the screenplay remains the same each time. After all, there's no need to sweat the small details. There isn't even any need to describe the details at all. After all, this couldn't matter to them anymore. Surely you've realized by now that all of this will never end? It was all just a game. A cruel game of eternity that neither player could leave. Then what do you suggest we do, Liberator? We can't just abandon our purposes and give up everything we know. The World Keeper. Blissful ignorance personified. The Liberator. Determination of freedom personified. The ideas given life, if you could even call it that. No, this was not life. It was far worse than life. Far worse than even death. It was infinity. Infinity they could never escape. Fated to battle each other. The only other one who shared this infinity with them. Back in the basement of the Sunrise building, Saturday and Allison entered the room only lit by the light of a worn-out computer monitor. It's some kind of log? No! Don't read that! Stop! Staring out the truth, Saturday read. She vented and read. She sobbed. She screamed. Only Allison was there to comfort her. Why? Why? Who put us in this fucked up eternity? I want out. I want out! Please, just any kind of miracle. I don't care who. I don't care what. At some point, Suki's voice started coming out of Dawn's mouth. No, it was more than that. It was my voice. It was also hers. The fighting continued. The crying continued. Fates forever intertwined in a Mobius strip of life, death, and repetition. Yes, only a miracle could save us now. A blessing from a higher power. A gift from the heavens itself. Whatever the form it may take, as I sat here observing, all I could do was pray for a miracle. And then, everything reset once more. Oh, you are not gonna do the end credits on me like this! You are not gonna do the end credits on me like this! What? It appears you've reached the end. Is this how you want it to be? From here, the cycle resets once more. With it, the fates of Saturday, Allison, Chio, Kotomi, and Eri enter the roulette once more. Intermission cannot reach frozen time. I've warned you of this at the beginning of everything. And yet, I feel as though you may not be satisfied with this end. Well, if that is the case, there might be hope for us yet. Scour everywhere in what you've been given up to this point. Read between the lines, specifically between the 19th and 20 lines. Search for something important. And then come back here. We will surely... No. We have to create a new future. What? So... I ended up finding this after just buying stuff. I guess this is how you're supposed to get it? Okay, let's do it. I opened the door that only she and I could see. I streamed into the room, but I immediately left when I closed the door, disconnected my room from the world. I'm home. Not that I was going to answer that. Stepping into the artificially lit room, placed the groceries I had obtained on the counter and flopped onto my bed. I let out a loud sigh, and I heard a quiet pinging sound behind me. Why do you always talk to yourself like that? Nobody's going to answer. Hey, shut up. It's not part of my existence to break that habit anyway. Sitting up on my bed, I saw the tall figure of the woman that paralleled me in every aspect, looking down at me with an exasperated look on her face. What are you talking about? So I'd figured it out. Well, I won't be the one to spoil the story for you, then. As serious as ever, I say. Are you taking this seriously at all? I looked at her. Even in the dim lighting of the room, I could tell she wore no emotion on her face as she spoke. How many times have you asked me that question? You know that neither of us are capable of answering. Maybe you don't have the mental knowledge of it. You sure as hell look tired. It's had to have been at least a few thousand cycles back. Oh my god. Well, there isn't much point in basic speculation. It's a waste of time. There was a brief bit of silence as she stood there just looking at me. Sit down. It's the least you could do. Simulated world or not, we're still human. I'm sure you must have standing up for too long. What's the trick? Place a detonator in the chair? Spikes? Man, if I wanted to attack you right now, I'd have a hell of a lot better ways of doing it. I don't have the energy. Just sit down. Or don't. Strain your legs. Make my job easier. Suki, whose actual designation was the World Keeper, took a seat and started rummaging through the bags of groceries I'd bought. Hey, I spent money on those. Hands off. Money that you artificially hacked into reality? Money's money. I don't want your grubby hands getting anywhere near my stuff, thank you very much. See yourself. I was just seeing what someone like you would get to eat. I feel like it had been eons since I first met the woman before me. In a way, it's possible it had, but I never had any way of knowing. So my own memory is concerned. It's been about half a year. Half a year ago, I'd been vacationing in Tanegashima. I saw her for the first time. It was like the appearance of my old friend, Suki. I tried to speak to her, but... Sorry, who are you? I don't recognize you. Huh? It's me, Dawn. Please remember my name, right? I'm sorry, I don't have any recollection of ever knowing a Dawn. Huh? Not stung, but it was within the realm of possibility. It's been over 10 years since we last seen each other. The more I thought about it, the more it began to strike me as strange because I didn't that I was even seeing her at all. Because my last memory of Suki was her. It was her unexpected death in 2010. What? Was Suki's death the trauma? That caused him to... Oh my... Wait, was it Suki's death that caused that trauma? It had to have been, right? Despite my better judgment, I decided to investigate, knowing that I'd likely be hurt more than by the unknown than by anything I could recover. Do you think we'll ever close this loop? Well, a pretty easy way to close the loop would be for you to just forfeit your little game. I guess we both know that's not happening. Sometimes I wonder if an alternate way out of all of this would even be in the realm of possibility, but Suki pressed her fist down on the stone countertop. It's not possible. And anytime you spend thinking of the idea of it being possible, it's taken away from the time you could be spending furthering your own goal. Are you talking to me? To yourself? Suki didn't answer that. The truth would destroy you. I like to think I have at least a little bit of compassion. Keep alluding to this big truth that you seem to know, but I don't. It's probably the thing that I'm getting the most tired of, this whole song and dance. There's probably more silence from Suki. Tell the truth, this was nothing like the Suki I'd known during my childhood. The Suki I'd known was honest to a fault. I think that the sole fact about the way the World Keeper carried herself was the first nail in the coffin that led me to become suspicious of this new Suki in the first place. After returning home from Tanegashima during the late spring, I tried to investigate the Tasugari family register. For obvious reasons, they wouldn't let me. So mad to look at it. I was about to give up and simply blame it on coincidence, but something happened that changed everything. What's going on there? I spotted something out of the corner of my eye. When I looked at it, it went away. Well, went away wasn't a great way of putting it. More so, returned to how it should be. There's a piece of the terrain that the world had begun to glitch in my peripheral vision. Stopped when I focused in on it and moved my eye. Is this Troxler's fading? Troxler's fading? Yeah, you know, the effect where if you look at something for a while, other things in the background either blur or disappear. Oh. Oh, it's that. Wait, who said that? Suddenly the entire world around me began to glow a bright light, and everything around me froze, turning into wireframe. I can make out a faint figure. It's everywhere at once, above and under me, woven into the fabric of reality. What? Ah, Liberator. Surely you understand upon seeing this scenery. Who are you? Where are you? What's happening? And then it hit me at once. The World Keeper, the Duskbreaker, the truth about this world. A severance of emotion. I felt like my mind was going to explode from the sheer volumes of data pouring into it. I was everything. I was nothing. I was the Liberator. I was the Duskbreaker. Was I the World Keeper too? Gaunt past and potential futures flashed before my eyes in an instant. A city outside in the confines of reality, constraining my vision. I was Saturday. I was Dawn. I was Suki. Voices that both were and weren't on weren't mine swarmed in my mind. Throughout my visions, I see a flowchart, billions of events playing out in my mind simultaneously. In every one of them, a meddling force, an oversight in creation that prevents progress. I hate what they're doing, what they stand for. Try as I might, I can't help but feel fondness for them. What would happen if I tried to stop her? Would I be helping the burdened girl, or would I just be a pawn in some game, pretending I'm the one making the decisions? I watch the burdened girl struggle, and I can't help but love her for who she is. I feel as though it's my duty to empower her, to be the force that lets her thrive through her friendships. I see another potential future, one where there's an opposing force, a liberator. I'll feel fond of it too, but in a different way. I can't tell whether that's me, or some other entity entirely. It doesn't act like me. It feels like it's a version of me playing a role on stage. My body is simply a puppet for it to act through. The voices swarming around my head come back, and I clutch it in frustration. Came back? Will have come back? Time becomes a meaningless construct, a fourth dimension in a world that so clearly to me has a fifth that I simply cannot reach, a boundary that I can't quite shatter. The world is a fractured mess. I feel like it's my duty to put it back together. Our duty? My sense of identity is crumbling around me. I try desperately to hold on to who I think I was, to who I hope I will be. Okay. I think it's time to try to make sense of all of this. Between space has been added to the menu. Discover the truth of the world behind between the cracks. What? Whoa. I'm sorry. What? What? Wait, what's between space? Dude! Huh? What? 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 What the hell is... the hell is this? Oh. Is this where I... This is the first log filed in the Sunrise Foundation's backup database. Today is June 16th, 2015. We just moved into our new office space. Getting all the legal hogwash out of the way has been a huge hassle. It's mostly settled. So provided nothing arrests us, we should be able to start preliminary planning for the first project. During the legal signing, I wondered for a brief second if this was worth all doing this. Selling all of the shares I spent my life building up to fund a company that's a big risk, to say the least. Suppose only time will tell. What the hell am I looking at? Oh my god. I have so many questions with probably so little answers. Oh, these are entrances. Can't click on these. Can't click on the books either. I need 20 of something. I just don't know what. More for here. I'm assuming these are puzzles I have to solve. Ouch. Wait a second. Oh yeah, that is Saturday. Is that Saturday when they were a boy? At least that's my guess. And who am I playing as? Wow. Okay. Um, there's there's definitely something in between space that I need to look for. Oh, here. Oh, what's this? This game has been a lot of things. Dustbreaker 001 Prelim. Today is October 20th, 2018. This is the first log for Sunrise Foundation 04th project, codenamed Dustbreaker. Dustbreaker is a huge step up in scope from all our previous projects, and a much larger risk, but I'm willing to take it. The purpose of this Dustbreaker is a virtual reality simulation to allow patients to interact with potential trauma sources in a safe environment. Unlike a VR headset, the Dustbreaker actually analyzes the brainwaves and faint pulses of a human brain. Then it constructs a simulated world based on that. Anything to do with modifying brainwaves is an incredibly dangerous technology, but the potential help it could do is far greater than anything we've previously done. Pre-planning begins tomorrow. I'm very excited. Scared. Let's compose this log. I'm gonna be exploring for a while, aren't I? I can already tell. I hope that I'll be having more fun with this, because right now I'm having a lot of fun. This was like the last thing I expected when I was trying to enter this game. Today is February 3rd, 2019. We reached a critical roadblock in the development of the Dustbreaker headset. Though we can easily construct a VR headset equivalent, the design for the Dustbreaker requires more accuracy with its simulated world. We will continue investigating possible ways to achieve this, but I'm not currently hopeful. Today is April 2nd, 2019. In the process of attempting to document my brief encounter with the fourth dimension, I've coined what I'm calling the meta-layer concept. It's the only way I've been able to describe what I've discovered about how the universe works. Basically, imagine that the universe, everything about it, from all space that will ever exist, to all time that will ever exist, is a world layer. To us, we can look down into other meta-layers because we see them as fiction. So for our third dimension, the layer of fiction that exists below us would be the second dimension. So fiction in this world is another entirely separate dimension? But there exist infinitely extending layers that span outwards as well. So the people that reside on those layers, everything about our universe would be to them what fiction is to us. This is the meta-layer concept. As for how it pertains to the Dustbreaker project, I will write another log. Read this as well. We have become enlightened to the state of everything that will ever and has ever existed. It was just a brief moment, and that time I saw the world and every world for what it is. This is exactly what we needed, what I needed, and what she will need. The fourth dimension. Oh. Oh, there we go. Okay, I did it. What are we gonna find here? What? Oh wait, I didn't expect to. Wait a second. Do I need to find more stuff? What the hell is this? Oh! Oh! I got one of them. I got one of them. Okay. I got one of them. Another document. Yippee! Today is April 19th, 2019. The engineers today began working on the EDEP modules. That is, air detection and air protection. Due to their names, the whole point of EDEP is to prevent anything from going awry and causing any dust that should errors arise on the Dustbreaker during use. So I had to use the 1028 AI framework for this. It's significantly more advanced than any artificial intelligence currently on the market. Of course, it will still require a fair amount of fine-tuning. The EDEP, the chances of severe damages caused on account of the Dustbreaker drastically decreases. Oof. Seems there was issues making it work. Quite frankly, this is like insane for chapter 3. Considering I think there's like 3 more chapters left. I feel like this is like endgame stuff we'd be getting much later. Is that like the total I've collected? Otherwise, I don't know. Let's see how I... Wait a second. Including this one. Yep. Oh, another one. Cycle define. It's currently cycle 16. I guess that works for a form of measurement. The theory of cycles has been confirmed. The narrative have once again made it to what is called Lock S. What I call Lock S. Of course, the story remained the same this time as it did in cycle 8. So the narrative is looping its cycles. Has this story happened before? What is happening? Oh my god, not these dumbass tiles, no! Cycle ITRTYP. It's currently cycle 33. So I've noticed that there are two properties that largely drive these cycles. Iteration type and cycle lock. So that's what the thing means. Iteration type seems to correspond to the answers the protagonist gives at the beginning of each cycle. They change slightly each time, which I haven't quite figured out the reason for yet. Basically, there are 4 types: empathy, sympathy, apathy, and antipathy. These don't usually change that much, but they're enough to cause slight alterations to some properties of the story. Like in apathy cycles, Chio has a car and license, and she's the one who drives the group out to the shrine. But in sympathy cycles, she doesn't have a license as a strong public transport advocate. Small differences like these are mostly how I've seen iteration types change so far. So we were in the sympathy one. So like, go back here. And then go back up here. Yep, there it is. Okay. And then we get the gem. +4. Got it. Not gonna lie, I'm having a lot of fun exploring these. Even if my voice doesn't really seem like it. I seem bored. I don't know if I sound like I seem bored. My voice always just seems like I'm bored. Maybe because I'm more introspective rather than just blurting everything outright. Oh. Seraphia. Oh, this is a song? Alright, next up is the pillars. No clue what that is. Maybe these other locks are something I'll have to find later. Right now, though, wait. I'm assuming this is the number that correlates? Yeah, because I forgot to explore some of these places. Another song. OPS Limon. Today is December 10th, 2020. I can't believe this day has finally come. Just under 2 weeks, the first test run of the spring will be carried out here at Sunrise Foundation's L4 Atrium. So much of my life has been building up to this moment. I'm truly ready to finally put an end to everything that started over a decade ago now. It had to be! It had to be Suki's death! Suki's death was the trauma! It had to be! I'm pretty sure anyone could... I'm not... that was... yeah, whatever. Okay, another one. Today is April 2nd, 2019. We've been on work on attempting to simulate a meta layer. Simulated world will be what the entire framework of Dustbreaker is built upon. Of course, it's not a naturally occurring meta layer. It's not possible for me to create one. Not entirely sure why. However, we can sustain the brainwaves of a subject on Dustbreaker to temporarily reside in a simulated meta layer. We can create the simulation to the degree that is required for the Dustbreaker to work at expected efficiency. So then... did I ever go up here? I think I did. Bingo. I don't remember this place. Enough. I need something else. Which means there's more gems to find over here. Enough for it to be worth 70, though? I don't have, like, 48 right now. I'm not sure about that. It's currently cycle 33. Cycle locks are more or less how far the narrative gets. There are 5 of these. Lock P is the earliest. Response to whether or not the protagonist dies in the Burning Museum incident. Are the cycle clocks what we've been experiencing, like the songs, when we unlock the songs? I'm assuming those are like the clock resetting or whatever. After that are Lock V and Lock U, which correspond to the cave head incident and the World Keeper's infiltration into the hotel room, respectively. So that was Suki who infiltrated? I thought it was someone else entirely. And then Lock S is the furthest one. Corresponds to the duel in the winter? What happened in the winter? What? Presenting no cycle has progressed past Lock S. There's another Lock type Lock 2. It's called it 2 because it basically means it's not available. Lock 2 is basically a catch-all for any cycle that doesn't end at all at one of the specific other 4 locks. There's a variety of reasons a cycle could end at a different point, but the reasonings aren't consistent enough to warrant naming other locks after them. Still waiting to see what lies behind Lock S. So, there's going to be a duel in the winter in Chapter 4? I'm assuming? Anything else I didn't account for? I'm scared. I'm scared. Okay, I'm going in. That scared me shitless. I'm not even gonna lie. That scared me so bad. 12. Wait, that's 70. Oh, I need... Oh, that's 70! I wanted to be someone. I had a whole story ahead of me. And now who am I? I'm recycling. Reused another narrative. Every day I still haunt to the desperate hope that someday my story will be told. I'm not hopeful. That's what I thought for a while. And now someone else is here. I'm feeling the paradigms of reality beginning to shift again. How many times has this happened? I see something in the distance. I reckon we need... I think we need to... I think the 140 is when we get the... what I'm looking for. Holy hell. On the mouse. It's currently April 5th, 2021. Layer 4 timescale. I'm finally starting to work on TVO. Well, what begs the question? It begs the question. What the hell is TVO? Something here. It's currently March 19th, 2022. Layer 4 timescale. What a day I've had. I finally managed to send a version of the data generation client up to the 4th dimension. Albeit this version is very, very primitive. I just need to get something up there. Not sending information between layers works. First push is the most difficult part. So you can easily update the client without needing to charge up the energy to send it upwards for another year. Managed to make a connection with someone in the 4th dimension. They're helping release the program. Pray that this method works in the end. But... oh no, it's teleporting! No! Oh! Free document. It's currently March 8th, 2023. Layer 4 timescale. That was the first day I was able to actually send part of the Schrodinger cycle to Layer 4. It covers everything from the disappearance of Suki to a bit after Lock P. I think this makes up for a good first chapter. Though the data generated through what we decided to call the demo phase was useful. It's only useful enough to supply continual updates to the data generation client. So my hope is that with this full release, more people will have access to the data generation client. TVO. This is our last hope. Our only chance to break the rules of the narrative and create a new opportunity. A new miracle. Oh? TVO. For TVO to work, I need to construct a version of the story. First, I was considering basing the events off of the iteration type. I don't think it would be a good idea to send that many alterations and possible outcomes between meta layers. So I had the idea for this sort of accumulated cycle approach. Basically stringing together a storyline out of the bullet points out of every cycle that's made it to Lock S. I'm calling it the Schrodinger cycle. It'll be the storyline attached to the client that'll get beamed up into the 4th dimension. Something's gonna happen in chapter 4, apparently. That's massive. Your planet. Main component of TVO is data generation. I ended up putting together a program to serve as the data generation client. It's a game. Users in the upper meta layer play the game and it creates data depending on how well they do. This data generation method allows me to gather organic meta layer data. But I created something like a computer virus or a cryptocurrency miner that just maliciously ran idle on people's computers. The data would be vastly inferior, and I should feel bad. So I think creating a video game is the way to go. I made the kind of games I used to love playing on my laptop. It's a rhythm game. The only problem is I keep playing it instead of working on it. What? Are we playing that? Oh, do I need to play these songs in order to... Wait a second. That's what these mean? I need to play the song? In order to get the gems. Okay, wait. Wow. What a song. I actually did pretty good on that. Is that how I get the... Oh my god, that's how I get the gems. That's how I get the gems! I need to play the difficulties! Okay. This gives me a whole new perspective. I need to go back. Let's go back here, and... There was a song here. Seraphio. Let's play this one. I'm starting to realize that I am severely nerfed. Like... Down scroll is just not my thing. And I'm learning that the hard way. Because I know I can hit some of these. I just don't. Oh, I need 140. I forgot. Oh. Well, alright. Huh. I actually really like that song. Cool. Alright. Behind this door. Oh. Silence kills me. Oh, it's just a straight line forward. His eyes are still watching me. Today's December 23rd, 2020. I'm writing this log once before stepping into the fourth atrium to perform the Dustbreaker test run. I started the Sunrise Expedition to help people in ways nobody else could. To create new futures using technology nobody else thought to use. And everything has been building to this day. We were deciding on who to use as the first human subject. I knew immediately what the right choice was. I started all of this to help her. To heal her. To save her from the suffering that started when her sister died a decade ago! I knew it! It was her sister dying! Okay, I'm glad I got that right. Tonight we will perform the Dustbreaker's first ever human run on my daughter, Saturday. If you didn't connect the dots, I definitely have now. Proof of soul. Obtain an important object. Got it. What? Wait. This is new. This is new. The story remains unfinished. Okay. And that means... shatter your fate. New song unlocked! And this one looks even better. Last wait. Middle is 12? No! No! I need to do the opening. I suck at this game. Oh man, I suck at this. I'm ashamed. I have to do the easiest difficulty. Oh, because it's down scroll. My inner rhythm gamer. It's almost disappointed. And the opening is 9. Which means this will already be difficult for me in and of itself. What? Whoa! How long is this song? I've been at this for a while. I legitimately cannot tell what the hell is happening. Dude, what the hell was that? What? I lived! What? Huh? This isn't over. You know it isn't.
Everything that's happened so far was all
But for this moment, I need your help.
So, find me.
To what? Huh? Chapter 4, Hidden Boundary. What? The future arc? Huh? Whoa. Wait. Oh my god, hold on. I need to process this. Hold on. I am in disbelief. Wait, hold on. I need 160. Do I need that to view chapter 4? Right now, I'm hella confused. I've been recording for so long, I genuinely do not know how long this will be. I split this into so many parts just to not have one big file sitting in my just sitting there, okay? That'll be it for today's video. I don't know how long this will be. I'm scared of how long this will be. But I'll see you next time, I guess.